It kind of all started like on a Wednesday. I messaged Isla and I said, I got to call in sick tomorrow. I swear to God, I'm going to assault my boss. I hate his guts. And it was so bad. And she just says, you know what? Let's just sell the house and leave. I'm like, oh my God. I go, you're out of your mind. She's like, yeah, we could do it. And so the following Tuesday, we're driving to meet the realtor.
Sorry, we're going to stop. Can't let Jon go on with that. But you just met Jon and his wife, Isla, and their dog, what was it? Brella is there on the corner too. Jon's going to continue that story. But what I want to do is just do a quick intro to this video so you know what you're about to get into. And we are talking about different ways that you can make Mexico happen before your retirement age, or way before your retirement age in this case, while continuing to work. So these guys both work part of the year, and then the rest of the year they're retired in Mexico. So it's kind of like being almost retired. And we are here in Vancouver, Washington, just north of Portland. We are in their RV, which is part of their new lifestyle post having a home in the United States, now having an RV parked here and a home down in Mexico in La Paz, not too far from where Kat and I are. But it didn't start out that way. So let's go back to Jon's story and hear where they went next.
I called in sick on Thursday, and we're driving to meet the realtor on the following Tuesday. And I'm like, Isla, you are out of your mind. She goes, I'd keep doing my job. Can you? You want to keep working there? And I'm like, nope. So we met with the realtor the following Tuesday, put the house on the market the following Thursday. So it was 1 week. And the house sold the next Tuesday. Yeah. And in 2 months, we got rid of everything we owned, just about, and put the 2 dogs in the car and split.
So I'm going to have these guys rewind the story about 6 months to include the part where they bought a vacation home in Mexico. But I wanted to mention that this video is filmed this past summer when Kat and I were in Portland. And we just got together with Jon and Isla down here in Mexico to get some B-roll of their home here. So you'll be able to see what that looks like in this video. And I wanted to mention that this video is sponsored by BetterHelp. If you're struggling with a work situation like Jon, maybe selling your house and moving to Mexico isn't in the cards for you. Instead, you might want to try out BetterHelp. Their online therapists are available almost anywhere in the world by phone, messaging, and video chat. I've worked with a therapist through BetterHelp during my time in Mexico. My therapist is in the UK, and it's great to have someone to talk to who is unbiased and a kind ear to listen and help me work through things over weekly video chats. If you want to give it a try, you'll get 10% off your first month if you use my link betterhelp.com/almostretired. Over 4 million people have already used BetterHelp to start living a healthier, happier life. Now let's go back to Jon and Isla's story before they moved to Mexico. Jon is working in a steel mill and Isla is working at Costco, and it's the middle of the COVID shutdowns.
So I was at Costco for 18 years, so working in a pharmacy, and we always took vacations. That was my thing. Every year we have to go at least a couple of times. So COVID happened and everything. We couldn't go on vacation for a while. We have this timeshare that we're supposed to use. So let's go to Grand Cayman. But just before we were going to go, I go on their website to check and see what the restrictions are. And they say, oh, well, you have to quarantine for 5 days. We were going to be there for 7 days. So 5 days sitting in a room is not that much fun. So what do we do? What should we do? And Jon said, well, we have time off. Let's just go somewhere. Where do we go? Mexico, because it's going to be nice and it's pretty close for us. And but previous to that, I used to watch Mexico Life. And on the Mexico Life, there was an episode about La Paz. And I researched a little bit to see where La Paz was and everything. So when we ended up with this week and we didn't know what to do, I was like, okay, let's go to La Paz. So we booked tickets really quick. I found this Airbnb for like $50 a night that had a beautiful view of the Bay of La Paz. And we watched sunsets every night there and rented a car, flew to Cabo. drove all the way to La Paz, which was a little bit of a nightmare because we had to drive at night. And we got lost a little bit, but we made it to La Paz. It was okay. And so those 7 days, we just kind of ventured around La Paz and checked all the beaches and everything. And then we decided to maybe check some real estate. And I already looked online ahead of time, so I kind of knew what was out there, but it's really different when you see it in person. I mean, right there, because you can see the surroundings and everything. And so we contacted Ian, who ended up being our realtor, and he was super nice. He said, "Oh, just, let me know what you're looking for, and I'll just take you guys. You can look at a few properties." And so we met Ian at his office in Centenario and went for a little ride, looked at a few properties. And the end of our little showing, there's this complex of just a road and one home that was not even finished. It was a model home. And we just went in the house, looked at it around a little bit, and I went to the terrace and saw the view. And the view was beautiful, the whole downtown La Paz and bay and everything. And so Ian took us back to his office, and he says, "Well, you guys just go to the beach, have a beer, think about it, let me know if there's anything you like or not." And so we went to the beach, and I was sitting out and drinking Coronas, and I was telling Jon, "I think I know what I would like." And he's like, "What?" And so the last house we saw that actually was just a street is the one we decided to go for. And we went back to our Airbnb. Jon claims that he couldn't sleep all night long because
That's a fact.
he was scared. I slept just fine. I was okay, but he could not sleep all night long. So we called Ian the next day, told him what our plans are, that we would like to go ahead and take a next step. And so he told us not to worry, not to hurry. It's okay, because he knew we had to go back to United States and get the funds ready and everything. So, yep, that's how it all started.
Well, it's cool. These guys, they're up here in the Portland area, and Kat and I had a similar story. We went actually with Ian's boss, Jim, and met in that same office and did that same tour around to the different places. Of course, when we bought, the place they're looking at was not there yet. And we kind of, that night said, "Hey, let's do this." So I think this is not a super common story, but it definitely is a story out there of people going on vacation to areas like La Paz, especially, and falling in love with the place and saying, "You know what, we can do this." But let's see. Retirement was not, this was something off in the future for them at this point. This was, they're both working. So let's see how, why buy a house in Mexico? Pre-construction, which are usually great deals. So Brella is a subscriber to this channel. Look at how happy she is as a subscriber. Click the bell and the subscribe button.
Yeah, but there was like the war in Ukraine. Mm-hmm. There was the insurrection. And
that coronavirus thing.
And there's so many different things that led us to that decision. We have no idea how we're going to make it all work. We don't have a pile of money. And so we're constantly in a state of sink or swim, and we have to count on each other all the time. And so now I don't have to take shit from some asshole at a steel mill that made me feel like they could give a shit less about me, and how I was just destroying my body. And And now I work at a sailing club, and I get to be nice to people for a living. I get to help them, become better sailors, better people, and Ilo gets to go back to Costco and work part-time, and
It's perfect.
it's outstanding. It's not ideal, like we don't have healthcare. We hope that nothing goes wrong until we get back to Mexico because it's so much cheaper.
Well, we will have a healthcare a little bit with Costco because for me, after 90 days, Costco offers health insurance for a spouse and even for kids that they're eligible. So for us, it will kick in a little bit. So in case we need to go here, or we just want to do just the general checkups, we can do that. Or, dentist visits or something like that. We could still use that because we'll have it for a few months before we go back to Mexico. But using the doctor down in Mexico is perfectly fine. I had ear infection while I was down there. I decided to just swim in the pool and put my head underwater, and I never do that. So, Bella. So I ended up with ear infection. I went to urgent care in El Centenario, and the doctor, they opened at 9 o'clock, I think. I was the first one there. Doctor, explained to him in my broken Spanish, half English, what was going on, and he looked at my ear. He says, "Oh yeah, you have infection. I will give you antibiotic and drops to use." I was in and out with medication and everything for $30 in 20 minutes altogether. So I was really happy with it. I ended up a couple of months later having an issue with the same ear, and then we ended up going to ear, nose, and throat specialist in La Paz.
Which she called this
Yes.
man. She calls the doctor. The doctor answers the phone. The doctor is on vacation.
Yes.
The doctor answers the phone on vacation and says, "Hey, I'm on vacation. I can point you to this other guy that can help you." Who does that?
And I have never seen this doctor before. It was just I asked one of our neighbors, who can I go to see the doctor or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, I use this doctor. He's really nice. Here's his number." So I messaged him through WhatsApp, and he got back to me, and it was 8 o'clock at night. I could not believe that I could see the message directly from the doctor, and he says, "I'm sorry, I'm on vacation, but here's the guy that's a specialist. He's in the same office with me, so just go see him." So I messaged the specialist, and he says, "Can you come tomorrow at noon?" And I was like, "Sure." So we went together, and actually our son was with us too, that was visiting at the time, and doctor was the one that greeted us at the office. No receptionist, nobody else. And he took us in the room, and John and his son were going to wait outside, and the doctor's like, "Oh, no, just come in with us." So they came in, and there's a little table and chair, so they were going to sit at the table, and he says, "Oh, no, you come help me."
It was so funny.
So apparently it ended up that I had a little bit of buildup of
Infection, wax, whatever.
wax in my ear, so he just needed to rinse that. And John was the doctor's assistant. He was holding a little tray and stuff, and the doctor showed him everything that was going on in my ear because he could put a little camera and look in there. And we paid, what was it?
$35, $40.
Not much, just somewhere around there for that visit too. And it was memorable.
But just to go back a little bit, she's the normal one in this, right? She's very reserved. She doesn't do things at the spur of the moment. And I'm like, "You are out of your mind. We can't do this, And she's like, "You know what?" She goes, "I know exactly what it feels like to walk down the street with all of my possessions in my arms." When she was young, war broke out in Sarajevo. And, she goes, "You think that I can't do this? If I can do that, I can do this. I'm like, oh, God, I love you. You know, you're so cool.
Well, I just think life's too short. So you just have to take, if the opportunity is there, then you should definitely take the opportunity and see where it leads you. Because if you don't try it, you won't know. And if we decided to stay here in Vancouver and say, okay, we're just going to work for 10 more years, because I just turned 50, he's 53. Let's just work for 10 more years till we wait for that retirement. Who knows what could have happened in these next 10 years? But we took the chance and said, okay, let's do it. If it doesn't work, then we'll figure it out. We'll go a different way. We can still come back. We'll sell the house in Mexico. We'll do different things. Like, Costco said, oh, they will take me back. And like they just did for a summer. So it works out great. And if we didn't do it, we would have done. And we went full-time retired. And then decided after us, 1 year being down there, okay, well, we want something to do. We would like to be a little bit more busy, make a little bit more money, because like Jon said, we don't have a ton of money. So we were like, let's just try halfway here, halfway in Mexico. And, we're testing it right now. So this is our second month in RV. So far, we like it. We had little issues that we had to take care of, like anywhere else, but nothing really major. And it's just, that 3 years from now, if you asked us, can you imagine that you're going to be living part-time in Mexico and part-time in the RV here? We would be like, no way. I mean, it's like, that was not in our plan at all. In our plan, we did think about retiring early. We looked at some properties in Croatia, because that's where I'm from, and we were kind of talking about that, but the prices just started going so crazy. And then the flight to get there is 24 hours. Where for Mexico, from Portland to Cabo, it's 4 hours for us if you have a direct flight. So it's just so much easier. And we drove down there and we drove back, and we're planning in October to drive back again.
And these guys did mention earlier that, the reason they bought that house down in Mexico was, for, like, oh, this could be our retirement home. This could be our vacation home. This could, our friends could use this house. And then they ended up using it a lot more than they expected. So let's hear a little bit about the house down in Mexico. Yeah, let's just hear about the house down in Mexico now.
The house is in a subdivision that has 28 homes. We have a community pool. We should eventually have a gate. It should be a gated community, but because they're waiting for some final construction stuff to be done with the sewer and everything, they don't want to pave the road quite yet. So the gate is not there as of right now. It should be. I just heard today that we also have sidewalks now in our neighborhood, so paved sidewalks, which is a big thing in Mexico. Our house has 3 bedrooms and 3 full bathrooms. So we have a bedroom on the main floor with the full bathroom, dining, living, kitchen, and then you go out to the backyard. On the first floor, we have 2 more bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. One of the bedrooms, which is a main or master bedroom, has a walk-in closet that also connects to the bathroom. And then when you go to the terrace, we have the 800 square foot terrace on the top that has a view of the downtown La Paz and the bay. And we have a kind of like a kitchen up there too, because we have a barbecue, sink, little mini fridge, and then the whole seating area, and it's covered. We also have a parking. We have parking for 2 cars right in front of the house. That's also covered. So,
how much did you pay?
How much did you pay? Jon's right there.
Paid $154,000. That's what all the upgrades. Because usually when you buy a house in Mexico, you get the base price, and then if you want air conditioners, it's more money add to it. If you want certain appliances, it's more money. Like
Car cover,
yes, our house
barbecue.
did not come with the oven because oven is a not regular thing to have in the kitchen in Mexico.
You know what else isn't a regular thing? The dishwasher.
Yes. So
Oh, yeah.
I asked for dishwasher, so we have dishwasher. That's so that price 154 was with everything, with kitchen that's on the rooftop terrace, with all the appliances.
And that's a
everything
legit
included.
barbecue they put up there. They put like a $3,000 barbecue
Yeah,
up
it's really
there.
nice.
That it's what brand is it?
Napoleon.
Napoleon.
Yes.
It's the greatest barbecue I've ever owned in my life.
Yeah, it's pretty
But
nice.
with the price of the house and all of the furniture, we were in there for under 170.
Okay, so that is a amazing steal for such a big house. But the question in my mind is, how did they afford that? Because I think Jon mentioned earlier that they're not, probably like many of you watching this video, is just sitting around with bags of money.
Okay, so Crazy here wants to buy a house in Mexico. I'm like, you out of your mind? And so we go home and we borrowed money against our house. And I think we borrowed 150 and then somewhere in there. And then when we just jumped ship,
6 months later.
the market was right, and we sold our house for much more than we paid for it. And so our house in Mexico is paid off. So
Yeah.
no house payment.
And we have no mortgage. That's another thing that kind of worked out really good in our case, because when we purchased a home in Mexico, it was completely a spur of a moment. Let's do this. We can do this. We can afford it. But then when we took the loan against our house here, it was only our payment for our house here would be only like a $500 more a month. So we're like, oh, that's not that bad for having house in Mexico, right? And as the things happened that we were not planning they were going to happen, in next 6 months, the market here just jumped. The housing market, the prices just jumped through the roof. And since I like real estate so much, I kind of just as a hobby look at all these prices and everything. And I was telling Jon, okay, price of our house here in Vancouver is they're saying it's way too much, and if we're going to do this, we should just do this, sell it right now. And that's how the one thing led to another, and we sold the house. We bought this house in Vancouver for $350. We sold it for
$594.
$600 almost. Yeah. So we made money. And it just happened that, all of a sudden we did not have a mortgage anymore. So we had a house in Mexico, and we had to wait because this was April that we sold house here, and house in Mexico was not supposed to be done till June 30th. So the lady that bought our house here in Vancouver was really nice. She let us stay all the way till the end of May, but June and July we stayed with friends in Tigard in Oregon that were also really nice to let us stay there. And then we packed up and moved.
And it was
down
funny
to Mexico.
because before we decided to do all this, I would do the math, so I'm like, okay, look, we'll get this much money from the house. If we sell the house, we'll have more money to live on than we would if we worked.
And stayed and paid for the mortgage.
So if we kept feeding this thing that we were continually trying to, pay for, and the cars and all of these things, we'd have more money if we got rid of it all to live on down there.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, we figured out that with, like Jon said, if we stayed here worked 5 more years, that the money that we would be making and paying into the mortgage here, was better for us just to sell the house, not have a mortgage anymore, and enjoy next 5 years. Or like it's ending up to be just doing a part-time in Mexico, part-time here, which is still so much more fun than working full-time and being stuck in that, 40 hours a week, just go, go, go. He was not happy. I was overworked too. And it just was, I think we made the right decision, even though the things have changed a little bit from when we first started this process. It was not easy. I think that there's always something new. There's always something you have to learn. Living in Mexico is not for everybody. And if you're not open to changes, to cultural differences too, it might be hard for some people, and they cannot adjust. For me personally, just because, I lived in Bosnia for 18 years, it's a different culture too. Mexico kind of reminds me of Bosnia a little bit. So I was easy, like a lot of things were not bothering me. And that for other people that come from the United States or Canada, they're like, oh, no, there's garbage and there's this and that. And well, you're in Mexico, so certain things you just have to take a little bit different. And
there's no Ross.
Oh, that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, there's no Marshalls, there's no Target.
Okay, that's hard.
This was hard for my sweetheart,
Yes.
It took a lot of counseling to get us through that.
When it comes to shopping, yes, because in La Paz we have Walmart, Chedraui,
Liverpool.
Home Depot, Liverpool, yes. We bought most of our furniture from Liverpool, by the way.
Options are limited, though.
Awesome.
Options are definitely limited.
They do deliver to your house. They set up all the furniture, so that's great. And they have good sales. Like in November, they have a really good sale for a lot of things. So, yeah, we like them. But, yeah, there's no Target, Ross, Marshalls.
Okay.
Sorry, I'll be quiet.
Okay, I gotta say, I love Ross myself. Kat will attest to that. That is yeah, exactly. Yeah, in Mexico, you don't have the same shopping options that you have in the United States, but you have things like beaches and margaritas that you could afford. So I want to go back to the work aspect of this, because a lot of people trying to figure out well, how can I go from I'm 50 years old? How can I turn my job into a part-time job? How can I make this work where I can still earn money, but not have to be here the entire time? So I'm going to hear from both of them about that.
So it's really funny. So when we came back, Ajla was a pharmacy tech, but she was just going to be a cashier. She was just like, oh, I'm golden. I could just be a cashier and I don't have to deal with people calling, people at the window, people yelling inside the place, and it's stressful. She's like, I'm just going to be a cashier. But she needed some health thing that she had 20 years ago that she doesn't have now. So it's going to take a while. So she's just tells them okay, just put me anywhere. So she's like, okay, I'm going in for my orientation, after she'd already worked there for 20 years. And she goes, they said it's 8 hours. I thought it was only going to be 5 hours. And they told me to bring rain gear because I'm going to be pushing carts. And I'm like, she goes, what do I do? I'm like, well, you should probably get some rain gear. The poor thing. It was so bad.
Yes, I was scared. My whole Costco career that I've been there for a while. There was only one time when I first started working at Costco that they sent me out to push carts. And I remember it as being a really bad experience. But luckily afterwards, I, got different jobs at Costco and worked in the membership. And then after a while, I got my certification. So I ended up in a pharmacy. But now that we decided to come back and work part-time, it was a little bit of
one of us is part-time,
half a year.
Oh,
that's what I'm
okay.
but he already kind of had his job lined up because he used to belong to a sailing club here in Portland when we lived here. So he is really good friends with the owner, and the owner said, you know, if you want to come back and work for summertime, that's perfectly fine. And Jon was also excited because this is something that he's going to do that he really loves, comparing to the job he had before.
I did love that job.
Yeah.
But those guys were, you know, that weird C word that you don't like to say in front of women. Yeah.
Yeah, so he already had his job lined up, and then I was thinking, well, since we're going back together, you know, maybe I need to do something too. And so I reached to a human resources person at Costco asking, what do you think, guys? Can I come back just for summer? Because I know a lot of times they take college students to come just for summer for a few months. And they were so excited that I wanted to come back. They're like, oh yeah, when do you want to come back? Just let us know. Just fill out the application and come back. It seemed pretty easy. I was a little bit scared of pushing carts, I have to say. I mean, being 50 and, you know, I was like, I'm not in the shape now to go and push 10 carts at the, you know, all at once. But it's a great exercise, by the way. Yeah. But
Paid to work out.
yeah, we're both back to work now for a few months. So we're planning to work till the end of September and then slowly head back to Mexico.
I love hearing stories of people who just made it happen, who didn't just continue on the course. I think, as Ajla said, it's like they could have just continued on the course of just working 40 hours a week, doing their jobs, but figured out a way to make it happen. Well, actually, first they figured out a way to make it happen in terms of like retirement completely, and then figured out a way to do it into like a part-time, live in Mexico, part-time up here. So I love these guys are so flexible. There's another guy down in La Paz who he has a company that feeds wildland firefighters. So all winter long, he's just hanging out in La Paz, and that's where he lives. And then during the summers, he comes back to the United States, up to California, and his company serves the wildland firefighting people. So the point I want to make is there is a way to make it work. There's always a way to make it work if you are creative and if you are motivated. So, but before I wrap up the video here, I want to switch over and I want to ask them about maybe regrets. If they have any regrets about their move to Mexico and their choices that they've made in the last couple of years.
No, you just hang on a second. Listen to this. Okay? We are driving down the road. We've been down there for 4 months. And bright blue water. It's beautiful outside. And I go, are you even happy here? She goes, you know what? No. And I'm like, oh my God, like we made some bad life choices, you know? And she's like, yeah, you know, there's nowhere to shop. You know, there's no Ross. I love shopping. And I just like moseying through the stores. There's no stores here. So I think like other than that, like you don't have like really any regrets, you know, but
No.
it's hilarious.
I mean, if that's called a regret, yes, then I admit that's my regret when it comes to Mexico. Other than that, the weather is beautiful. The water is perfectly beautiful, blue, clear. People are amazing down there. They're so nice. They're so friendly. They're helpful. They will, if you need anything, they're going to just come and help you. And food is pretty good if you like Mexican food.
Yeah, and
If you're looking for Italian, Chinese, Thai, well, that's not going to be as great.
Italian. Oh, we got a list of Italian for you guys to try.
Okay.
But the
Well,
other
I want that.
Chinese, Thai, Indian, Bosnian,
Yeah.
not going to happen.
Yeah, I think we found one sushi place, Hana Sushi, that was really good in La Paz, that we really liked. We did try tiramisu Italian, which was good. Everybody talked about it. We were okay with that.
I don't know, for me, like, you know, like there's really no turning back. You know, especially when you tell your boss to go fuck himself. But, you know, there's no greater feeling than doing that. But, you know, like, you can't go back, you know. So whatever you gave up here, you know, we gave up a really spacious, big, brand new house and traffic. We gave up, you know, just on and on. But like, you know, like I'm not gonna lie, like there's been times, you know, where I wake up out of my sleep and I'm just, I can't go back to sleep because I'm worried that I let my kids down and that I've done something that I can't come back from. But, you know, the time that I have with them is so much more meaningful, and they're so proud that I don't have to, you know, be in a place where I'm miserable and unhappy. So it is challenging in a lot of ways, but for the most part, it's the greatest thing we've ever done, and we're young enough to be able to enjoy it and young enough to fight for it, you know, because I mean, we tried it in 10 years from now. Like, yeah, no, yeah. I gotta take a nap, honey. This is stupid. What are you talking about?
I agree. If we had to do this 10 years from now, I don't think I would have enough energy and stamina and drive, I think, to just go and face all these little speed bumps, top is. Because it's a little bit easier when you're at this stage in life than when you get older. I think you just don't want to deal with that stuff anymore. You just kind of just want to sit at home and relax and watch TV and maybe go out to dinner and stuff like that. It's a little bit easier right now. Is it hard? Yes, a little bit. Like Jon said, it's hard to be away from kids, even though most of our kids are grown up. Just the youngest one is 13, but other than that, and the shopping,
oh my God. Like, I swear to God, like, we go into, what's that, Lay? In some store. Yeah, I'm in there for 3 hours with this girl. She spent $60. You know what I mean? That's how much she loves to shop. So I understand that you miss that incredibly down there.
So if you like to shop a lot, La Paz might not be the best choice. Maybe Cabo or Cancun or Puerto Vallarta.
Yeah, it's true. La Paz is, you know, it's a very Mexican town, but I'm sure there are places, as Ajla mentioned, in Cabo, or like really going to Puerto Vallarta, I know, has a big mall. There are places, there are options. Mexico City probably has, actually Mexico City, you can go to Versace if you need to. So there are options that way. Kat mentions how much she loves how easy it is in the United States. When we get back to the United States, it's like, it's obvious what the speed limit is. It's obvious if you get into a car accident, what's going to happen. It's obvious if you run off the road that you're not going to go off the side of a cliff. It's just everything. It's obvious, like, how you pay your bills. So things in Mexico are more challenging than they are in the United States. The United States, everything is just super easy. So if super easy is the most important thing to you, then maybe moving to Mexico is not the best place to go. But if adventure is what you're looking for, then I've got a country for you. But let's get a tip. Before we wrap up this video, let's get a tip from these guys for you if you're thinking about, you know, making this move before, like, about 50, right around when you're 50, making the move, getting down to Mexico.
Well, my first tip would be is don't be afraid. Just do it. Looking back on your life, you'll say to yourself, these are the greatest times of my life. And if I didn't make this choice now, you're gonna live with that regret for the rest of your life. And sitting around watching some silly show, watching Mexico Live, you know, and then you just like imagine that it'll happen, you can make it happen. And, you know, you're not going to wait till you're almost croaked working at that job that's okay, that pays your bills, that gets you by. But that's not where the true happiness is. The true happiness is bright blue water, very happy people. I think up until recently, I didn't even know who the president was. Yeah. Now we got a woman president.
A woman.
Everybody's super nice. Just go for it. That's my biggest tip.
I think don't be afraid. It's good. There's going to be challenges, but you know what? It's worth it. Life's too short, and every day. I mean, any new day is not promised, so we don't know like if we're going to be here tomorrow, and you know, do we want to live another day regretting that we didn't make this move and just thinking, oh, what would have happened if, you know, we bought the house in Mexico? What would have happened if and we just decided to stay here and not do anything and just wait for that perfect time or perfect opportunity? I don't think there's a perfect time and perfect opportunity. You just make it happen. And you know,
God bless you.
roll with it.
That's awesome. Well, I think now is actually the perfect time. Kat's been kicking me here, ready to go. We're going out for Bosnian food here in Vancouver. So it is perfect time for that. And it's also perfect time for you to take your next step in the move to Mexico. So even if you aren't ready to move, I want you to watch one of these videos. Otherwise, I want you to take a concrete step. So check out these videos up here, and I'll see you soon. Hasta luego.